I stole over $20,000 from my former company. I was a manager at a top 5 pizza chain. At first it started out with voiding out a couple cash orders now and then. As I kept getting behind on bills, it snowballed to me taking thousands out of the register a week by either comping or voiding cash orders. As a manager I had the ability to edit transactions after they had already been finalized. I don't know how I was never caught. I had cameras facing towards the register, but knew just where the blind spot was to safely pocket the cash. We were also a test store for a new portion model that allowed me to never have shortages in inventory. Still, I think someone had to know there was way too much money going from the store to my pocket that I wouldn't have tipped someone off. But now I'm not working for them by my own choice and have never once been confronted about it. On any given day there was at least $100 in my pocket from the store. If I took this much I'd never say a word about it. My first job out of college I worked on point of sale systems for restaurants and hotels. I saw this happen a few times. We had a voided check line item on our nightly reports and auditors usually caught onto this type of theft. The worst case was a guy who did it from the very day that we put in the new point of sale systems and was the head cashier and auditor. 5 years later they got new auditors who caught on immediately. This guy was working under an alias with a stolen social. They estimated he had stolen over $500,000. The shame was it was a family owned restaurant where the patriarch had passed away soon before this started and the family had no idea it was going on. Unfortunately that restaurant went bankrupt. The thief was sentenced to prison. I stole roughly the same amount from an organization for which I was treasurer. Embezzled for roughly 3 years before I was caught. Obviously, I was fired from my job immediately. I was able to pay the money back thanks to generous family members. I was ordered to write a public letter of apology, which was shared throughout the industry in which I worked, and I was told to post it to all of my social media pages. I avoided any litigation by doing this. The story was covered in the local and state news. This was 2 years ago, and I still feel a great deal of shame and remorse every single day for the people I hurt. My life has changed in many ways for the worse, and in some ways for the better. There is no excuse for what I did, and I wonder if I will ever be able to forgive myself. I do know I'm thankful for the second chance I received. I don't plan on wasting it. Just felt compelled to share. Thanks for sharing your story too. Hate to say it, but one day you will be caught. That is a lot of money. Are you secretly confessing because you know that karma is coming for you, whether you believe in it or not? Not really. If I was hurting someone, maybe all I did was take $10,000 plus a year from a store that made 15 times that in profits. I wasn't taking food from anyone's mouth, just skimming off the bottom line of a corporation. I had an old manager get caught for something just like this. He had a studio that was going under and was voiding out hundreds of dollars a night to keep it afloat. Didn't take long for him to get caught, although he threw the rest of management under the bus for some minor policy violations. That job went downhill shortly after. He was probably the same person that worked in that clothing store and planned a heist with his friends stealing clothes. Oh my god, you should really delete this. If I was in your position I would just be thanking the stars to have gotten away with it and leave it at that. There is really no need to be confessing this to anyone, online or otherwise. Sounds like you have a money problem. That was pretty smart of you to take the money like that, but if it was my store you wouldn't be able to breathe right now without me taking your money. I worked in a pizza chain where a manager was pocketing major money. It was essentially an open secret everyone knew, but they couldn't prove it. I worked there twice. When I came back they had installed cameras to watch the registers in the safe. That never made sense to me because of the way she was doing it. I remember walking in one day and finding out another manager walked in on her pocketing cash straight out of the safe. I don't know what happened, but the official reason for her abrupt departure was some minor issue with merch counts. She had another job as a manager of a different restaurant within a month, and I'm pretty sure she did it there too. I used to work at a top 5 pizza store and did this to Opus. I never got caught, simply because you void the orders there's no trace in the main systems, only on the camera tapes. I didn't steal as much as you because I didn't want anybody to notice. But you probably won't get caught after all these years, and I'm sure of that. If you had them suspicious, they would have found out already. Yikes. This happened exactly to my dad's company. The employee stole $20 and she was a relative. Her family struggled financially and we wanted to help them out. She ended up stealing $20 from us and ran away while leaving her mom dealing with all her problems. The only thing I can never understand from her is how can she leave her mom to take care all of this mess. She literally used $20K to go travel around the world in a few months before she got caught, while her mom has to work every day for us. Her mom is kind of a house cleaner for our family, a good lady. It's just truly sad. Me. Dials 911. Yes, I'd like to report a hamburger. 911. So McDonald's has been robbed. Me. Damn. Dude, you stole money, a lot of money, whether it was to score your next fix or pay your bills because you can't budget. Don't matter, you are a thieving scumbag. I was a delivery manager back in the day. I would cancel 2 or 3 orders a night and keep the total. We also would add coupons to people's orders after they called and charge them the original price. You're completely lying to yourself if you think your theft didn't take food out of someone's mouth. As an employee, you have no idea what expenses that owner had: rent or mortgage, insurance, utilities, and 100 other things. As a previous pizza shop owner, I can guarantee they weren't making anything like the profits you imagine. Every dollar you stole took something away from that owner's family. Damn, props my dude. I've done this as well, being a store manager for a large pizza corporation, but not more than about 7 grand. I remember someone telling me a similar story 20 years ago. They worked at a popular fried chicken shop. They would take orders throughout the day and not put them through the computer, just take the cash and put it in the drawer. At the end of the day, they would take their cash trays upstairs and pocket the money on the way up. I worked for a quick service food company, international corporation. One of the stores near me had $30,000 get stolen over the course of a couple months. The accounting and LP team caught on late, and the investigation, which I heard was very thorough, only narrowed it down to a few people and they got away with it clean. Kind of a shitty thing to do. I couldn't imagine being the person that did it and having to put some of the people I work with closely through that. I'd feel like the biggest piece of shit. But then again, when you stake that much money, stuff like that doesn't matter to you probably. As someone who watched my brother do something similar in his teens, quit while you're ahead. Seriously, just stop now. I'm not judging your actions, just trying to protect you from your mistakes. I don't know how I was never caught. Not until later this week. My advice: take it off, never use this Reddit username again. A few years ago, a guy confessed to rape on this subreddit and a few days later got caught. Please tell me if this witch employee was stealing from the store. I ordered a pizza witch and he charged me a pepper witch. They sound more or less the same, but he can't confuse them since you put a mark on a piece of paper. Anyway, the pepper witch costs 30% more. So I pay and only notice after he charged me and returned me my debit card. So I say, hey, you charge me more, why? And he wasn't surprised. He said, oh okay, give me a minute and I'll give you the difference. This was very strange. If it was an honest mistake, the common response is to say, what? Let me check. Oh yes, you are right, I'm very sorry. But he didn't even check the mark on the order. He just said, okay, give me a minute. My theory is that he charges more expensive sandwiches, and when people don't notice, he makes the correction in the system, gets that 30% in change and pockets it. Does that sound feasible? I did something very similar at a job, in a very similar way. I think they might have caught on, but couldn't prove it. But I was already out of the company for other shitty things I used to do. Reasons. They couldn't prove it legally, I don't think. So it was like cutting their losses, just getting rid of me. The worst part is I wasted the money on bullshit like DVDs and PlayStation games. Even beyond that, it was a waste of my youth just getting by doing shitty jobs and wasting the money on crap. It fuels my depression. I don't understand how awful good this sub is. For a large corporate chain, literally all you did was hinder some shareholders' ability to buy more stock and have fractionally more money. Like you're not even impeding anyone's ability to buy a yacht in this economy. But man, I hope you fixed whatever problem you had that drove you to do that.